Hello everybody, in this video I'd like to talk about engines, which is a bit of a hot topic. It's one of the first things that people usually ask me when I mention this project is what engine are you going to use? And yeah, it's a bit of an issue. The original engine should be a 5 litre V12, an incredible racing engine, lots of magnesium parts, dry sump obviously. You're going to be looking, well, I don't know, I haven't asked. You can buy them actually, I sort of know where you could buy one, but the price is going to be, north of £500,000, I would imagine. I would be amazed if it was any less than that. And I should imagine significantly more. I mean, these things are the business, and they didn't use it anywhere else. It was only ever used for the 512. I think it's called Type 512. So the first thought would be to use a V12 engine out of a Ferrari more contemporary road car. But the problem with that is they're not cheap. Nothing in Ferrari land is cheap. So it's pretty hard to get hold of a good V12. And if you can, again, the price is going to be pretty high. I think for a good V12, you will be talking sort of £15,000 to £20,000. And those engines, remember, they're not actual racing car engines. They look amazing, but they're not actually, I believe they're all wet sump engines. And when you look into it, when you actually see one, I saw one on the bench once, and it's a massive lump. And I just thought, what does that thing weigh? It's going to be quite a big difference between an engine like that, which is designed for a road car to do, at least 100,000 miles, and a racing car engine, which is only, it's designed in the 512 to do a 24-hour race, and then maybe be rebuilt. They'll probably go on for longer than that. I mean, but they'd be very light compared to a road car engine. So if you look at that lump going into this the frame, I think I started to go off that idea. Once I'd seen one of those engines, I thought, I think that's a little bit much. So I started looking around and I found this one on eBay. This is a bit of a sorry example, but this is a Maserati engine. But this was built by Ferrari. It's actually well known that this engine was actually made in Maranello. And it's a Type M138 Maserati engine. It's a V8. This is 4.2 litres. This is a dry sump engine, all alloy block. It's really light. I can actually move this around on my own. I can lift it up as well. It's pretty heavy for me to lift it up. Don't do that. But it's possible, and it's kind of manageable. And you can think, well, this is a fairly racy engine. And you can buy these. They're not massively expensive. Well, they're quite expensive. I mean, this thing was £500. It's a complete engine. It's stripped down. It's probably not going to be worth rebuilding this particular one, but it's extremely useful for me to mock up and scan and measure and basically say, well, this is sort of my default engine. I think that's quite a good idea. But if you wanted to have a V12 engine, you could fit that in the car, no problem. It actually fit pretty well. One of the problems with most V8 engines is what we call the bank angle, which is the angle between the cylinders, so that this forms the V of the V8. And most V8s are a 90-degree bank angle. It's to do with harmonics. I don't really understand. It's to do with balancing the engine. You'll find most of them are 90 degrees, whereas V12s tend to be 65-degree bank angle, so the cylinders are banked closer together. Again, it's to balance the engine. It's not really my field, so I'm not going to make anything up. That's a bit harder to package in the frame because the frame's quite narrow at the back. So I've changed it slightly to the original. This is where my sort of 85% of the original design intent comes from. Because I wanted to stiffen up the rear end, package a 90-degree V8, and also make it so that it's a non-structural member. So this engine is not really intended to take the structure of the car. Whereas most racing car engines, they form a structural member. So they're mounted hard to the chassis, and they form the link between the front and the rear of the car. So you'll have this is a transaxle gearbox, which basically forms the axle, so it's the whole back end of the car effectively. And it could be a structural member, it will probably be fine, but I don't know how that will behave. And it gets quite complicated if you want to validate the structure of the car using the engine and the gearbox as a structural member. So I'd rather not do that, and I think it's probably going a little bit far for what I want to do, because also I want to be able to say that you could fit different engines. So what I've thought through is that there'll be like a universal engine mount solution, which I'll go into a bit later on, which is still in my head at the moment. but it's very simple, and the idea is that you could then use a V12 if you really wanted to. I wouldn't. I would advise against it. I get why you would. The original engine is just incredible when you hear these cars going. It's unbelievable. I mean, they are just, it is the heart of the car. And, you know, people might say, well, if you can't have a V12, you know, don't bother, you know. I disagree with that because I think the car itself is a really beautiful thing, and it's kind of what I'm interested in. I'm not massively into engines. I kind of get them. I mean, this is a great looking engine, I think, as well. I mean, this is a bit of a sorry example, but when it's all cleaned up, it looks cool, and it's a racing engine, really. You know, it's a hell of an engine, and it's achievable. You know, so I think it's quite a good compromise. So yeah, that's where that is. And one thing about this is that I know that it works with this gearbox. So this is a gearbox out of Ferrari 360. Now, when I first thought this through, these were a bit cheaper than they are now. If you want a manual gearbox for a Ferrari 360, it's actually quite hard to find. This, again, is just a case. It has a diff, an input shaft. It's actually got no gears in it. So it's just for mocking up. It's been in a crash as well, but it's very useful. And I know that you can use this gearbox with this engine because people have done. And somebody actually offers an installation service. Well, it's not a service, but they will offer you an engine with a gearbox built up. I don't know how much it is, I haven't asked yet, but when I asked the people that are doing it, they said, oh, we'll tell you our supply because, you know, you just buy it straight from them, which is really kind of them. But I haven't done that yet. I'm going to. It's one of those things that, for me, this has to be done in stages, otherwise it's too expensive and it's a bit too daunting. It's, you know, you think, wow, what are you going to spend here? You know, I haven't really got the money to do the whole, you know, just to send it off and it comes back built. So anyway, that's another story, but. So yeah, that's the engine really. So that's where I'm at with it. You know, you'd be shocked to hear that I even considered making this electric, and I thought, well, you know, maybe you could get sponsored by somebody who does classic car electric, because it could be a spectacular vehicle powered with an electric system. And I don't mind that. I think because, I mean, it's not original, so you're not going to have a V12. Well, I'm not. But I think the EV, if you're going to design it for that, it would be a little bit different in the structure. I mean, if anyone's watching and wants to sponsor the project to be an electric car, I'm up for that. You know, I know it's controversial, but I think that'd be cool. I think it'd be a good talking point. And but I can't afford to do it myself. The cost of that is biblical. You know, it would double, triple the cost of the project. So that would need to be sponsored. So I'm not planning to go down that route unless someone wants to sponsor it for me. So anyway, that's the whole engine saga. So I'm going to have to put this away now. The jig has come in. I'm building it up. There's going to be a bit more on that. I'm going to do some quite interesting things with the jig when I've got a bit of room. So this has got to go away. I'm going to strip it down and pack it somewhere else. So hopefully next video we're going to have a completely empty garage with the jig and the body panels being fitted to the jig. So that's going to be a cool video. So yeah, thanks for watching, and yeah, see you soon. Thank you. Nice one. Bye.